It's about judgment in former Social Development Minister Bathabile Dlamini's perjury case, which now will be handed down next month. The Johannesburg Magistrate's Court today had closing arguments. Dlamini is facing perjury charges for allegedly giving false evidence during an inquiry into the 2017 social grants crisis. Govan Whittles, the eNCA reporter, is following the story. He's joining us now with the latest. Govan, very good afternoon to you. Well, now judgment is going to be next month. What's the latest you can tell us in this case?
Well, both the state and the defense have rested their cases, Bradan, and the state saying that the strength of its case really is in the transcript of the oral testimony given by former Minister Bathabile Dlamini in that fact-finding inquiry headed by retired Judge Ngwepe. And in the courts today here at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court, the state again pointing to the testimony of Thokozile Magwaza, the former CEO of SASSA, in which he had said that the minister interfered. But some more details from the defense this time, Bradan, the defense pointing to two specific technicalities which they say would leave their client, Bathabile Dlamini, found not guilty in this case. The first is they say there's a difference between official workstream meetings and meetings where workstream members happen to be present. Remember, this case is about whether or not Bathabile Dlamini lied about being directly involved and the workstreams reporting to her when it came to choosing new suppliers to pay out those SASSA contracts. And then the second is the defense saying that because it was a fact-finding inquiry instituted by the Constitutional Court and the Section 38, it doesn't qualify as a judicial proceeding, and therefore charges of perjury cannot be brought based on that. The state dismissed this out of hand. They said there is precedent for charges to be brought, and they reiterated that the strength of their case is in the transcript, essentially saying they've caught her red-handed in oral testimony, and they want the magistrate to make a decision based on that. Outside, after the court proceedings were adjourned, Bradan, there were a number of ANC Women's League members that were here to listen to Bathabile Dlamini, as well as some of her allies. One of them is here with me now, Mr. Carl Niehaus. Mr. Niehaus, thank you so much for your time. So what exactly has been the message from Bathabile Dlamini to her supporters?
Well, Comrade Bathabile Dlamini thanked her supporters. You must know that they've come every time that she has been appearing here. She also emphasized her own innocence from the side of those of us who continue to attend these trials, not just Comrade Bathabile Dlamini's trial, but also that of Comrade Ace Magashule, also that of President Jacob Zuma. We are convinced that these trials have a very specific political intention, and that is to target specific people, those who are proponents of radical economic transformation, those who want to see the African National Congress returning to the roots of the ANC. There are other people like Oscar Mabuyane, like Thabang Makwetla, like even Gwede Mantashe, who have been seriously implicated, but we never see any charges being brought against these people. Why? Because they are not those who stand for the important return to the revolutionary heart of the African National Congress. This is not justice. This is selective, factional politicking in order to try and target certain people and remove them out of the political game. We've seen what has been done to the Secretary General of the African National Congress, Comrade Ace Magashule, and of course I don't need to continue to remind everyone about what has been done to President Jacob Zuma for over 20 years.
But Mr. Niehaus, it's important to state that those people didn't end up in the courts just through ANC decisions. They contravened sections of the Criminal Procedure Act and have been charged and face serious charges. In the case of the former president, he was sentenced by the Constitutional Court to serve time in jail. But it does appear evident that what we're seeing here is the intensification of the factional battles within the ANC. And it seems like this will only be resolved at the Congress at the end of the year. Do you believe that there's actually any possibility of unseating the status quo in the ANC at the moment by the RET forces?
Well, let me correct first of all your comment that President Zuma was correctly sentenced. He wasn't. It was an illegal sentence by the Constitutional Court. You also know that Comrade Ace Magashule is there on trumped-up oversight charges, and let's see what is going to happen on the 21st of February. With regards to your comment about RET forces, RET is the official economic policy program of the ANC. It is not a faction. And when we pursue radical economic transformation, we pursue the official economic policy program of the ANC, and anyone who doesn't support that program are actually factional, and they are the ones who define themselves outside the policy positions and mainstream of the African National Congress.
All right, I'll have to leave it there, Mr. Niehaus, but it is quite clear that there is some scores to settle within the ANC when it comes to the different groupings. That's Mr. Carl Niehaus. He's the former spokesperson of the disbanded MKMVA, but still a very influential person within the so-called RET forces. And I should mention, Bradan, that when Bathabile Dlamini addressed her supporters, she also pointed to the need for more gender representation within the top six of the ANC when it comes to the conference at the end of the year. So that'll also obviously depend on what happens here on March 9th and whether she's found guilty or innocent of perjury in the Johannesburg Magistrate's Court. For now, it's back to you.
Govan Whittles, for that latest update in this matter. It's going to be back in court on the 9th of March. That's